Podcasting from the Lone Star State in Southern California, you're listening to the Coma Podcast with Cody and Matt.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Coma Cast. It is April 7th, 2021, coming to you a day later than we had scheduled, but we are here and we're glad you are joining us. Today we're going to be talking in our main topic. We've talked about it a little bit when we were talking about early on Joe Biden's administration coming in, but talking about the workplace and LGBTQ issues. Some new numbers have come out in the United States and polling and some investigation into it to find some numbers, some hard numbers we have on LGBTQ in the workplace and those who may know about it or witness it and what they do with that information. That's our main topic. But out here, Matt, it's been some nice weather. I've enjoyed it a lot. I've been getting to work out in the yard, which has been exciting. It's my time when I can just like relax, breathe. It seems to like calm me down. And
Not
so it's been
answer my
nice.
text messages.
Oh my gosh. But
it's been the
yeah, it's been
opposite
nice.
here. It's been like 91 degrees today and yesterday. And
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, what the hell? It was like, come on, I was just hoping for just a few more weeks of spring. It's been really hot here, so haven't really. I mean, yes, I'm in a hoodie, but that's because the inside of our house is always
Inside.
cold.
Well, hopefully you'll get at least a few more days here and there of cooler-ish weather before it really heats up. I know. I was looking.
No, looked at the forecast. It's not happening.
Not happening.
I mean, we're getting some thunderstorms.
I was gonna say. I love
thunderstorms.
Yeah, I was looking at my parents and talking to them, and they were asking what the weather is like, and they were talking about how it's been warm, but there's going to be some rain on the way. That is the reprieve, I guess, in Texas. You get a little bit of thunderstorm. Sometimes they'll cool it down, and then sometimes it's just a humid mess. So
yeah, it is not really cooled it down much here. That
is true.
Very often, but I need to mow, and I kind of can't right now. And I'm like, shit, I'm gonna hate my life when I.
So Justin has to mow like once a week, and it's already like raggedy again. And he mowed Friday, and so this is Wednesday, and it honestly looks like it needs to be mowed again. I think we're gonna have to go to like 2 days a week mowing. Like, how often do y'all have to mow there?
Usually, when I lived in Florida, it's every week, and I probably could have mowed every like Sunday and Wednesday night, but obviously I was a student living in high school or living at home during high school. But here about once during rainy season. But so the problem is our whole yard is weeds, as our neighbors, all of our neighbors, they just overtake our lawn, and our sprinkler system doesn't work. Super helpful. When they put in the neighbor's yard, they put in sod for them. And they use this heavy roller. They rolled right over one of our sprinkler heads and crushed it. We didn't know it.
Oh my God.
So the one time we went to use it, and because we can't use our sprinkler, we didn't even hardly use it before. But we turned it on once just to make sure it worked. And yeah, so now we have to replace that. And one of the sprinkler heads way in our backyard has sunken beneath the earth and can't pop up. So it says that zone doesn't work. So none of the sprinkler heads will turn on.
Oh my God, I'm an expert at sprinkler systems. So like when I come, I can fix it all up.
Oh my God, that will be amazing. Also, I need your help making our yard like grass again.
I'm pretty good at that too.
Yeah, I need help with that.
Yeah, I'll have to send.
I'm just like far too like not. I just can't deal with it right now.
Yeah, that's on the back burner now.
No, I mean, I literally need to mow the lawn. I mowed it the other day, and I need to mow it now, and I can't. I'm like, oh God, this isn't happening.
Too bad we don't have like reliable.
I like mowing the lawn.
Justin does too. It doesn't bother me,
but
allergies for me sometimes, not all the time. We need robot.
Our yard isn't hard to mow, so it's not like, I mean, unless there's something I have to stop for some reason, maybe 20 minutes. It does not take 30 minutes at most. During the really hot parts of the year, I will usually stop and go get water, even if I don't want to. I will make myself, depending on how hard I'm sweating, I will go get water and then give myself 5 minutes inside the house and then come back out and finish. David will trim the lawn for me, which is really fun for him because he's never done yard work before we lived here. Excuse me. So, of course, hours later, his arm is all like, duh.
Oh
Yeah, it's.
goodness. I remember
It
when
sucks for.
yeah, I remember when I was young that I used to like go and mow like my grandmother's neighbor's home, and I was just like mowing everybody that I knew. And then now it doesn't bother me. It's just fun. I just put on some music, or lately I just put on a podcast and just go at it, mow. It's kind of relaxing. That's what I said.
Literally, these are solely for that. I don't wear AirPods.
Yeah.
I hate them.
You hate them? Oh my god, I
I
love them.
hated them. I did have them for a few weeks, and when they worked, best thing ever. Like when they worked perfectly, like amazing quality and everything. Everything else about them was so frustrating. Like, oh, the one doesn't want to charge, the one's dying faster than the other, and then they easily fall out of your ear if you're laying in bed, or I didn't want
Oh
to
my
run with them.
goodness.
They were just
I think
annoying.
you have an Apple tech gremlin at your home, always trying to like interfere with your
So my Pro that
technology.
I have problems with is 5 or 6 years old. It does need a little TLC, but I mean, I've never really had major problems with. The only real problems I ever have are when they'll do updates and reset all my settings will get reset, all my passwords get deleted. Those are issues.
Goodness.
But like the actual hardware, I very rarely have any actual issues. David didn't believe me the first 3 times it happened, and then I think it was when we upgraded to the 7 several years ago now. He literally watched it happen. Like he had seen me log into my 6 earlier that day, and then we got the 7s. We both did identical things, and I did used to work for them. You know, so you imagine how many
Wow.
times I've done this for customers and talked people through it. Yeah, I mean, and then he watched it happen. He's like, "Oh my god!" Literally every single password is gone. I've had every single password, login, username, everything deleted more times than I can count out of nowhere. I'm like, what the?
Well, that is insane. I don't
It's
know
so
what is
frustrating.
going
But
on.
that's not an Apple thing. That seems. I don't know what that was. It did not happen in the last upgrade, and I
Yeah.
was so happy. And then when everything transferred over from the MacBook Pro to the Air, which I did not want it to do, it just did it itself. By the way, I did not authorize that. It just I was set because I wanted the Air completely separate from the Pro because I wanted to be able to shut down school and work on something that didn't have all my stuff on it and also crush this computer like I did the last two. But it did it anyway, and now it is way more work to delete off everything that I don't want. So as I find stuff, I'll just delete it as I go because I don't really want to spend a week deleting 10
Ah,
years of
goodness.
stuff. I was like,
Yeah.
and then it's marketed as a feature. It's like, oh, this is if that's what I wanted to do, it would have been great because it put everything exactly where it should be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just didn't want it
You just didn't want that. Matt knows I'm
on
an
this
Apple.
computer. I was like, damn it.
Matt an Apple fan. I'm obsessed with my watch. I
hate
got my
them.
AirPods, I got my AirPod Pros, I got my iPad Pro, I got my Mac. I got my phone, obviously, and I'm ready to get the new MacBook Pro. Hopefully, it's going to be coming out. It has the M1 chip, which is like the super fastest thing ever. They have the initial M1 computers that came out in the fall, I believe. And they had one at Costco, and we tested just like a little video project on it because since I do a lot of video editing for the podcast and for my personal stuff, a long waiting period happens when you're waiting for the videos to render. So we did a little test on the computer. It was so quick, so fast. So when that one comes out, I'm gonna have to get that one too. So,
I want to get
I know. Do what?
I want to get David an iPad Pro.
I love it. I love the pencil too. So much you can do with it. I haven't even done everything that I can do with it. So both me and Matt have been vaccinated, first dose. And so I'm just waiting and excited to get my second dose here in the next few weeks. But this was some exciting news. Of course, we keep getting news like this from the Biden administration. Initially, it was they're going to have 100 million doses in the 100 days, and we beat that. And then adults are going to be vaccinated by May 1st or eligible. And now it was announced that Joe Biden has moved the deadline for full adult vaccine eligibility to April 19th now. That was previously on May 1st. He said 150 million doses have been administered since his inauguration, putting him on track to meet the goal now, his newest goal of 200 million shots by his 100th day in office. A lot of states already, as we've mentioned in the past, have moved up their originally scheduled opening eligibility for adults. That was May 1st. A lot of them moved up. Texas, had opened up. California opened up for 50 and above. And in the middle of this month, everyone will be open to eligible to get it. And so actually on Monday, there was about a dozen states who opened up vaccination to anyone over 16. So that's all exciting news. I'm so happy with that, because if you listen to any of our episodes last season, towards the end, it was just like, well, we're surviving, I guess.
Hi everyone.
Now we can be
haven't died. Hashtag America. We're just
now there's like light at the end of the tunnel that I can maybe visit Matt or he can visit me.
Currently, it seems like you're going to have to visit here because I have not had good luck.
I do need to get back to Texas. I do need to get back to Texas. Yeah, and actually,
I do say you should be coming here first because you need to see your family.
I do need to see my family.
I'm still going to take a vacation to your hometown. So the plan that I think I have Cody convinced to do is that because it's actually a safer, quicker flight for him to fly to me. And then I will drive him to his hometown. And then I'm just going to hang out there for a week while he's vacationing. And then drive him back here. When I come back to San Antonio, I will take him back to the airport. And, so I will have my own vacation for a week and do my own work and research and stuff I have to do. And Cody will get to see his family, and we'll probably have dinner. I was hoping we'd have dinner like once or twice during the week and hang out or like play tour guide a little bit. But it just seemed like a really good way to help Cody's anxiety and also make me take a trip and do something. David's always like, you should really do something for yourself once in a while, Matt. I'm like, no, I'm fine. He's like, get the hell out of the house.
Yeah, I think the last time I was in
last year because we both canceled every trip, every weekend, every even like day excursion we could think of for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I mean, I would say we were the ones that were doing what we were supposed to do. Not everybody did that, but whatever, I guess. I haven't been back to Texas since July of 2019. So it has been a long time. A lot of stuff has happened personally in my family, with my grandmother passing away, and I wasn't able to be there. So yeah, I definitely need to get back there. I'm just excited because when you look at our numbers, like versus pretty much everyone in the world, we are doing amazing. And it's these other countries that are struggling, unfortunately. I know Canada's not doing too great at all. I just was reading an article yesterday evening that Australia, we've seen all these pictures of them in New Zealand going out, partying, a lot of times without masks because the virus levels were very low there. But as far as vaccine numbers in Australia, it is not going good at all. I don't even know if they have a vaccine that is approved there. And a lot of it has to do with that they didn't put in orders when all these other countries are putting in orders. And now like they're at the end of the line. And so it's like, oof.
Yes. But and the Trump administration signed an agreement with the companies that we cannot give away like surplus. So that's why we aren't helping people. And I'm like, why would you? Why would you what kind of negotiator are you? But we already know the answer to that. But
well, I do know, like the Biden administration was asked as well to release the AstraZeneca doses that we are not using, and the Biden administration denied the request. I'm not sure on that. I'm not sure on that because I feel like we're not going to approve AstraZeneca in the next little while. So might as well let some other countries use that. But I guess they want it for emergencies if for some reason these other doses for Moderna and Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson aren't. If for some reason something happens, I guess.
One of my mutuals told me he did get the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, so he was excited that he had hit his 2 weeks, and I'm like, I'm kind of jealous.
One shot and
But we are
done.
I'm hoping the second shot goes faster than it took to get the first one, just because like we're going back to the same location, same things done, and that'll be my doctor was like, you should take the next day off of whatever you have planned. So apparently most of my doctor's office all got Moderna, and then half of the staff was out the next day after day 2 after the shot. My tech told me she was one of them that missed work too. She's like, I probably could have worked, but because I had a fever and I ached, that's not really something you want to be around patients with, because of the environment they're in. She's like, I felt okay, but I really shouldn't be around people if I have a fever, because it's not going to help anybody. And I think if anybody, people get really weird about that, and the whole vaccine passport crap, and I'm like, you haven't been to public school in this country?
Oh my God!
Or
don't even get
Manila. Yeah, and when David went to Manila in 2013, he worked there for 4 months. So he lived over in Manila for 4 months. Before he could go, he had to have a ton of vaccinations and prep to go, and he got them all, got his paperwork together, submitted it, and got approved before he went. For me to go to nursing school, I have a shit ton of vaccines, and there is none of it. Like, I have a lot of really offensive opinions about religion, but don't worry, I will keep sharing them.
The vaccine passport. I'm like, I don't understand what there's such a big issue about. Again, like you said, you got to have show a vaccine card to go to school, college. You have to have meningitis.
Travel.
When you're traveling, certain countries required to have the yellow fever card. Also, what does it matter? Also, a lot of people are complaining and they got the vaccine. So, okay, this is just so that first of all, it would make it digital. There would be a digital version of this, which would make it easier for you, make it easier for everyone around you. Just quit complaining. I think it's just people want to complain. So we had previously talked about in our live show about Josh Whedon and the Justice League and the Snyder Cut, and that there was some drama surrounding one of the actors, actor Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg. And he had come out recently with toxic issues concerning Joss Whedon. And it's kind of been in the background, and we didn't know much about it. But in an interview published this week on The Hollywood Reporter, Fisher said many of the issues stemmed from white executives telling him how a black character would act. In one instance, Fisher voiced some concern about some of the characters or scenes to director Josh Whedon. And Josh apparently responded to Ray Fisher saying, it feels like I'm taking notes right now. I don't like taking notes from anybody, not even Robert Downey Jr. Fisher went on to say, I don't believe these people are fit for positions of leadership. I don't want them excommunicated from Hollywood, but I don't think they should be in charge of the hiring and firing of other people. But okay, I don't understand. I mean, I say I don't understand, but it happens so much to people. But the whole, like, how a black character would act, if you're a white older man, you cannot say how a black character would act.
Yeah, and it's Joss Whedon, Cody.
I always am going Josh.
Yeah, some poor guy named Josh Whedon is going to just get like so much hate mail.
Or my accent causes the Joss to go into Josh, and I'm. Ugh. But yeah, this story.
That is
we get
super
more
uncomfortable.
information.
I mean, but people make really stupid assumptions all the time about how people should. So the first thing that my stepdad, then dad, said to me after I came out to him was, "Are you going to act more gay now?" I remember staring at my cell phone in 2005 going, huh? Like, I didn't know what to say to that. Like, then and since then he's detailed to me how he thinks I'm going to act in situations, or why I wasn't invited to this, or why he doesn't want to be a part of that. And I'm like, I don't do that. I've never, things like that. He goes, well, I just know how, you as a gay person is going to act. I'm like, that's a lot for an older white guy who has older straight white guy who has never had friends that aren't you. So
Yeah.
you know how your gay kid's gonna act. You
Yeah.
know. So I mean, Joss Whedon is not any different, but this is very much along with, I've ranted about it a little bit before about how people are super sick of these diva attitudes, and it goes beyond, diva in the sense of, oh, I will only have green M&Ms in my dressing room. No, it's the Joss Whedons of the world. These are people who are total princesses about who they are and what monsters they can actually be, and people are freaking sick of it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like there's no reason you should be given that much power and you can act like that. And it's very easy for the people around to be like, oh, they need to grow up. And you know what? It's not a big deal. Bitch, shut up. You're saying this from the position of your multi-million-dollar bank account and comfortable lifestyle that, so what if you get fired from a couple movies? You're good. So you know what it's like. So why are we enabling and encouraging this? When a child in a house of siblings acts like that, you're like, oh man, the parents must have really spoiled that one. Even if they are a talented, brilliant child, they're like, man, they need to be kind of, humbled a little. You don't want
Yeah.
them walking around. When one child thinks they're better than everybody else, even if they have the best grades, even if they are the best behaved and are the smartest, you still would be like, yeah, but you're not the only one in the world. And just because you have those things doesn't make you better than the people around you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
why do we do this in so many situations? Hollywood is treated like nobility. They are, and they're still fucking people.
Yeah. Obviously, in this instance, so we're getting information about Joss's interactions with Ray Fisher.
Right.
We also recently talked about JoJo Siwa. She was one of our very first episodes of this new season and this new format that we did. And she talked about how she had come out and she did it in on social media, and it was just so sweet. But she finally is now coming out a little bit in some interviews talking about that she said that some of the backlash was so bad that she couldn't sleep for days. And she said that she was thinking that all the comments were going to be nice and supportive, and they weren't. A
No.
lot of them were, I'm never buying your merch again. My daughter's never watching you again. She said that she couldn't sleep for 3 days, but she says that she doesn't regret it. She has known from a young age that, she was not straight. She's like, I think for the first time, I felt so personally happy. She said that she's exploring labels for her sexuality, but usually right now she just uses the term gay. And she also says that she likes the word queer. She says, technically, I would say I am pansexual because that's how I've always been my whole life. It's just like my human is my human.
I so totally agree with that. I don't like to discuss her much because, she is a minor and I don't want to. Like, I fully support her. I just, people get so weird about minors. And of course, they love to target women. And it's just terrifying. Like, the amount of creepy articles and, I did see, like, a good majority of it was very supportive. But yeah, I also saw the hateful things, and I'm just like, God, you're talking to a teenager. Like, yeah, she put it out there, but people are up in her business. And I don't know when she turns 18 or whatever, but I've never actually looked her up like that. But I can only imagine that she's going to face the same scrutiny that the Olsen twins did, Lindsay Lohan did, a lot of, that teenage actresses face, or, celebrities and TV personalities or YouTube personalities. And I'm just like, she's just sharing some private information for herself, but at the same time, damn guys, like,
well, and you know
yikes.
what? Again, it's like you just shake your head and you're like, there's not much to say about it. But it's like many of these people writing these negative comments were not kids or younger people. They were the parents of these kids. And it's like,
Yeah.
you're an adult. Why are you saying this to a kid? Like what makes you
Because
think this is
people don't.
okay?
I can answer that for you. because adults, especially ones with children, like to believe that because they're mommies and daddies, that they somehow know best for all children. When in reality, when you talk to so many parents, they literally have no fucking clue, like, actually how anything works. They think they do. It's okay not to know. I think admitting you don't know something is really important. But because it's not a norm to them, they suddenly know everything and want to control everything. And what happens when you try to restrain a child? What happens? They will run to it like a horse to water. Do it. Yep. But yeah, people don't actually care about kids. Unless you're like really cute and pretty. And I can tell you, when I was not a cute and pretty kid, people were horrible to me. You know who was excessively horrible to me? Adults.
Yeah.
Adults. The same adults that some of them are still alive, you know?
Well, and when you look at it, that's the kids start acting the way their parents do, and that's
right.
how things
Yeah, of
get
course.
carried
Some
on.
people, I mean, some people are literally just born assholes. It's true. They just have that edge to them, and they're proud of it. Good for you. But yeah, so much of it is learned, you know, like
Yeah.
it's really horrible. And then of course, to be a teenager getting that from other adults, which is terrifying, because when you're in trouble as a child, you're supposed to find an adult. An adult, you're taught, run to an adult and tell them you're in trouble, they'll help you. Maybe not, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So coming up next, we are going to be talking about our main topic at hand. We're going to be talking about LGBTQ in the workplace. That's next. And we are back, and we are going to be talking a little bit. We talked about earlier this season some LGBTQ work issues because the Biden administration had put forward some workplace protections back in place that the Trump administration had basically taken away and was like, LGBTQ who? We don't care. Even though they like to pretend that they did. But recently there's some new studies that came out that said a quarter of the workers know LGBTQ employees are treated unfairly in the job. And almost half have heard LGBTQ comments at their place of employment. The survey also found that approximately 6% of workers in the workforce are LGBTQ people. And then there's also in this study talking about over a third of Americans think LGBTQ students are treated worse than their straight counterparts. 9 out of 10 college age students report hearing anti LGBTQ comments at school.
I was very lucky that the family I was raised with was very supportive. And in jobs I've had. And also, this might be reckless, but I literally am fearless and maybe a little reckless. During my interview with Citibank, I was a fraud rep for them for a while. I straight up asked the hiring manager, she was giving me a tour. I said, just one last thing before I go, sign the last of my paperwork. I said, I am gay. Is that going to be a problem? Is this a safe environment? Because I'm not going to change pronouns for people, say she and her, for people to think I have a wife or a girlfriend to make everybody else happy. I said, I'm not doing it. So am I okay here? Am I safe? And she was like, oh my God, yeah. She's like, I was hired in June, and there was actually down another hallway was like all their pride stuff and all the stuff that they did. And yes, I know it's corporate and I understand that, but that's better than zero. So so I grew into that mentality because I realized that, yeah, sometimes you have to do what you absolutely have to do. We all know what survival is, but I have risked definite unemployment or crushing some dreams because I wasn't going to work somewhere to make everybody else feel comfortable. Fucking fire me. I got in prance across the showroom floor when I worked for Pontiac. Did I? Absolutely. For the sheer benefit of some of my very, very homophobic coworkers who openly told me they felt I was dumb and childish, and they made no bones about it. They had no problem saying it to me. But that's why I think gays in general, the LGBT, we tend to work in customer service environments because you're expected to take a certain amount of abuse to work in customer service. which is one of the reasons I rail against diva behavior, because it's everywhere at all different levels. We don't tolerate it in a grocery store. Why is it tolerated on a movie set? Like, yeah, you do have a job to do, and I get it. There is a lot of money behind it. There's a lot of stress and a lot of people's times. But if you can't treat other people like a fucking human, then why are you in charge? And if you can't show up to do your job and respect your colleagues, why are you here too? You know, like that is a two-way street, you know? Like, no, it doesn't not matter how great of a customer you are, how great of an actor or actress. Within a year, some beautiful rising star can do it. There's like 8 billion people in this world. You are not special, you know? Like,
for sure.
So, so I would say that our community is in those roles because we take so much abuse. And a quarter seems low. Don't get me wrong, a quarter is still too much. But like, when I think about the comments and jokes I heard in the early mid 2000s when I was first at work versus what I hear now, like, for example, when I went to CrossFit, I did CrossFit for 6-8 months with David, and we were nervous, you know, because you don't know. It has a reputation for being very gym bro, and you know, we didn't say anything up front. We just kind of let everything play out. And there was a couple of gay guys we worked out with. That was interesting. But the owner actually told us one afternoon. We asked like if he ever had that problem, and he said specifically that they did have a group of guys that started working out there, of straight guys that were very like exactly what you would imagine CrossFit bros are. And like, I actually asked them to leave and never come back because they just made the environment so frustrating for everybody around them. He's like, that's not what I'm here for. He's like, go find another gym. Nope. And I was like, oh, well, okay. And, you know, because in an environment like that, you get so hot and gross and sweaty, and you're working really hard and you're focused on yourself. Like, I never wore headphones there, and I couldn't even tell you any of the songs that ever played because 5 minutes into the workout, I literally can't hear myself think because I'm so focused on doing what's in front of me, which is how it's supposed to be. But it's really hard to concentrate if you're worried you might get hate crimed, or when you're catching dirty looks from your peers who are equally working hard, and you're disgusting, sweaty, and it's the only environment I've ever had to take my shirt off because I literally would sweat through 2 or 3 tank tops. If I repeatedly changed them, I would sweat through all of them. Yeah. So you feel very vulnerable in these environments. So it's a place you want to know you're safe, you know, and, you know, when you go to work, you want to feel safe. You want to be able to like walk through your job and not feel like somebody is gunning for you because of your sexuality. You know, if they're going to gun for you, it's because they straight up don't like you. There's lots of reasons to not like a person. I can give you 20 about most people in my life, but it has nothing to do with their sexualities. Jeez.
Yeah.
Cody's like, shady.
The study goes on to say that 25% think law enforcement officers treat LGBTQ people worse. Also, 17% believe healthcare providers also discriminate against the LGBTQ community. We've kind of talked about that a little bit, just touched on it briefly, that we feel that for you and me that it's nice to have an LGBTQ friendly doctor or health person.
Right. Well, I can definitely see it. So scrolling, you know, the nurses and stuff that I follow on Twitter, several of them post about when they put their pronouns on their name tags or whatever, they've had other doctors and medical staff make fun of them. And I'm like, goodness. You know, but you have to think medical staff don't know everything. You know, it's kind of in the same way that we have people that up until a few years ago, we had people in Congress and, you know, acting as representatives at all different levels of government that have been there literally since the civil rights era. You think they've taken a science class? Do you think they've done continuing workshops on people? No, they have the what they see on TV, and, you know, their great grandson that came out as gay and after he caught them watching Drag Race. You know, like, where does education come from? You know, nobody is educating themselves at that level generally. And it's not hard to figure out when you hear somebody use terms at you that you're like, well, I've missed the old names, you know, and you're like, oh, all right. Wow. Let's see what nursing home I pick out for you, you know?
The study kind of concludes saying that 95% of the studies showed a connection between discrimination and negative health outcomes. 82% showed unambiguous evidence that discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation or gender identity is associated with harms to health. And those could include depression, anxiety, suicide, PTSD, or other mental health disorders. So, hey guys, we want to remind everyone that you can keep in touch with us on all of our social media channels, whether that is Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You can do all of that at the ComaCast.
And we definitely love to interact and hear from all of our listeners. All of this is not possible without you guys.